Hello, Silverpaw Reads here, and we are going to start Chapter 14, Part 1 of Spike. Let's go. Sam picked up the receiver and dialed the number home. He was borrowing the hospital phone. Saunders speaking, a voice finally said after a long wait. Dad? Sam carefully begun. Sam, Saunders exclaimed, you should have been home hours ago. Where in the world are you? Dad, I'm at the hospital. Sam hesitated at first, not wanting to upset or worry his father, however told him the truth on his whereabouts anyways. You're where? Sam, are you okay? What happened? Is someone there with you? Spike's looking after you, right? Dad, calm down. I'm okay. Could you ask Terrence to pick me up? I don't have any money on me, so I can't take a cab or a bus. Yeah, of course I'll call him, but... Dad, I said I'm fine. I'll explain it all to you when I get home. I just need a ride. Sam was unaware that he spoke with a very saddened voice, which was probably what worried his father even more than if he'd spoken in a normal tone and sounded more convincing. Okay, Saunders spoke after a pause. I'll have Terrence be by there as fast as he can. Which hospital is this? It's the small one just outside the town. You won't have to cross the bridge. Good thing. That bridge isn't safe. But you just wait right there, Sam. We'll be there shortly. Love you. Love you too, Dad. Bye. Sam was the first one to hang up as usual. His father's always waited in case Sam recalled something he had more to say. Sam thanked the nurse who kindly let him borrow their phone and then walked out of the hospital, sat down on a bench close to the entrance, and waited. A long wait later, a navy blue car appeared in the parking lot. Sam recognized it as Terrence's car and started walking towards it. Saunders stepped out of the vehicle before Sam had gotten the chance to reach it. He gave Sam a big, comforting hug and asked him if again he was okay. Sam reassured his father he was all right before he finally got to enter the car. Hey, kiddo. Terrence smiled sympathetically to Sam as he started the engine. Hi, Sam replied low. Saunders turned around in the passenger seat and looked over at Sam sitting in the back seat. So, mind telling us what you were doing at the hospital? Sam hesitated. Me and Spike had a fight, he began, and I broke his jaw. You broke his jaw? Terrence and Saunders exclaimed in chorus. Well, it's not like I did it on purpose, Sam hurried to explain. The hell did you manage to break his freaking jaw? Terrence asked, amazed, but was stopped by Saunders. Sam, is Spike okay? Saunders asked his son. He's had a surgery, Sam told him. Had to get metal implants, but I guess he's fine now. He looked fine, sort of. I think you should pay him a visit, poor kid, Saunders said. Terrence, turn the car around. No, Sam said low. He doesn't want any visitors. Is he mad at you? Saunders carefully asked. Sam nodded. No wonder, though, he then murmured. Didn't want to enter into the details. Saunders looked at his son thoughtfully. Then he smiled, reached out his arm, and gently ruffled Sam's hair. I'm glad you're okay, son, he said. We'll talk more about this when we get home, all right? Thanks, Dad, Sam said almost inaudible, glad he didn't have to explain it all right now. He was tired so much that when he leaned his head back in the seat, it only took seconds before he fell asleep. Sam woke up from someone carefully shaking his shoulder. He yawned, stretched out his arms, and tiredly looked up into the mild face of his father. We're home, Sam, Saunders said. Time to wake up. Sam stretched his limbs again, followed by another yawn. Looking around in the car, he noticed Terrence was still in the driver's seat and the engine was still running. Terry? Sam asked drowsily. Aren't you staying? Terrence shook his head. Your dad called me while I was at work, so I gotta get back, you see? Aw, Sam said. He hoped Terrence could stay with them for a while. Not only because he enjoyed his company, but because then his father would be occupied with his visitor and Sam wouldn't have to explain what happened today until later. His explanation would have been that delayed. However, now he'd have to tell his father everything, and he wasn't ready for that. Terrence jerked a smile. Don't fret, kid. I'll probably return later tonight. See you then. Cool. Sam smiled, fought back to hold back a third yawn before he stepped out of the car and let Terrence drive back to work. His father ruffled Sam's hair again. It was one of those I care about you gesticulations he had. They walked into the house together. Once inside, Saunders went to the kitchen wanting to make Sam something to eat as he was sure his son was probably starving. He made him bread with cheese and ham, with some cucumber on top, just the way Sam liked it, and poured some chocolate milk in a glass. Sam was lying on his side on the sofa, eyes closed and head leaning against the armrest. You sleeping? Saunders asked low, placing the food on the table in front of his son before he sat down on the couch beside him. Just resting, Sam mumbled. Saunders reached out his arm and touched Sam's forehead. "You're not warm," he announced. "Dad, I said I'm fine," Sam said, rolling his now open eyes. All right, sorry." Saunders apologized and withdrew his hand. He didn't say anything for a long while. Sam was deep in thought. He thought about what to say, how to say it. He came up with a whole set of different explanations, each of them sounding either too formal or too ridiculous. Then he decided to make it simple, come clean about everything to his father, and started with the most difficult part. He sighed deep to get his father's attention and then said it. "Dad, I'm gay." Sam had been expecting his father to either burst into loud laughter of disbelief or to be angry, but instead he just sat there wide-eyed. Then his face got back to normal, and he asked, "Did the kids mock you at school again?" "No." Sam turned sour. "Did you smoke my marijuana?" he asked, more serious. "Dad!" "Oh, okay, so you didn't." Saunders got silent, looked deeply into his son's eyes. "My God," he nearly whispered in realization. "You're not kidding." Sam shook his head. "Are you mad?" No, of course not," Saunders said sympathetically. "Why would I be mad?" "Well, Terrence's parents kicked him out when he told them. I thought maybe..." "Did you really think I'd kick out my own son because of his sexuality?" Saunders said and gently ran his fingers through Sam's short hair. Sam looked up at his father. His eyes were getting teary, and shortly after he began crying. "Oh, Dad," Sam wept. He didn't seek out for a hug, even though he desperately needed one. He had a notion that, now he was gay, he would be looked upon as something repugnant. "Come here," Saunders said low and reached out his hands, indicating he was there if Sam needed a hug. Saunders was touched by just how amazing his father was, and he was ashamed of having thought of him otherwise, as someone who'd reject his own son. He sat up in the seat and accepted the hug, almost tossing himself into his father's arms. "It's okay," Saunders said, and his father stroked his son's hair again. "I'm sorry," Sam snuffled. "Sorry about what?" Saunders wondered. "That I'm different. I'm sorry I'm like this. I can't help it. I'm sorry I'm not a perfect son." "You idiot," Saunders said. Sam looked up at him. "What?" "No offense, Sam, but sometimes you're just stupid. You're sorry you're not a perfect son? Sam, you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. Not Mom, not anyone else. You." Sam just stared at his father, touched. "Straight or not, you're still my son and I love you, just the way you are. Nothing you say or do will ever change that. In my eyes, you are a perfect son. Even when you were little and brought half-dead mice in the kitchen, you were still perfect." Sam chuckled with teary eyes, chuckled at the memory of all the mice he'd tried to save, and teary eyes because of the things his incredibly tolerant and caring father had said. Sam folded his arms around his father's chest and hugged him again. Then he snuffled. "Nothing ever infuriates you, does it?" "You joining the army might," Saunders said. Sam couldn't help but laugh. "So," Saunders began after a short while, "how'd you find out?" Sam withdrew from the hug and wiped away his tears. "I guess that it somehow started the day I met Spike," Sam told. "So you're in love with Spike?" Saunders asked. Sam nodded. "Huh. Well, that explains a lot." "It does, doesn't it?" Sam said and tried to smile. "When I was little, I thought those feelings I had for him were just sort of a fascination. And I didn't think of them as awkward or abnormal. I've always wanted to be around him, be close to him, kind of be like him. I've always been completely absorbed in Spike and everything about him, but recently the feelings have been stronger and stranger. I had this giant urge to just do things, like kissing him." Sam flushed. "I guess that's when I found out I was in love with him, and that I was probably gay." Saunders had been listening closely the whole time and felt now was the time to say something. "Feeling like that isn't abnormal at all. There's no difference in loving someone of your own gender than loving someone of the opposite gender. It's just less common, and that's why some people might react to it. Humans have this strange tendency of reacting negatively to things they're not used to. But there's nothing to worry about being gay. You're just in love, and that's a great thing. It's just love, so why would genders matter, right?" Sam nodded, amazed by how understanding his father was, and then he had this sort of view on homosexuality. Then again, he'd always been very understanding, and always supported love. He'd just never spoken of homosexuality or even bisexuality, and had always given the impression of wanting to be very masculine. He even cut his hair because someone thought it looked feminine, and if Terrence had joked about Saunders doing something or saying something that appeared gay, he'd completely freak out and make sure he never said or did it ever again. This is probably why Sam had been thinking his father would dislike his son being gay. "So, I assume you told Spike?" Saunders said. Sam nodded, and he didn't get too happy when you guys started fighting. Sam looked wide-eyed at his father. "You knew?" "No, but I know you two, and you're starting to get pretty predictable," Saunders smiled. "Besides, you saying you broke his jaw kinda gave it away." Sam's face grew sad. "I can't believe I did that," he murmured. "Neither can I," Saunders said. "Are you mad at me?" "I'm not mad, but I can't say I'm very happy about what you did either. I mean, you got your best friend hospitalized. You've got to learn how to control your emotions, Sam. You're letting things get out of hand too fast." "I know, and I'm so sorry about it." "Well, you did bring him in the hospital all by yourself, and for that I'm proud, but I sure hope you apologize to him." "I did, several times, but he didn't seem to believe me. He doesn't want to see me anymore." Saunders thought about it. "Don't be mad, but I don't think he's angry about the whole breaking his jaw thing. I figure the way I know him that he's angry about you actually loving him." "I just don't get it," Sam began. "I wasn't expecting him to just run happily towards me. It would kiss and become lovers like in a cliche movie scene, but I didn't expect him to be this angry either. I want to say he's overreacting, but there are things about him I don't know, things that may explain why he's reacting so strongly." Saunders stopped and mused. "By the way," he asked, "how did he react?" Sam sighed as he thought back on it. "He was pretty worked up before I told him, but when I didn't, he just sort of snapped," Sam told. "He started walking away, and I was afraid he'd run off and never return, so I grabbed his arm trying to stop him, and he just tells me to get my hands off him like he's disgusted by me." "Now, he doesn't like being touched, you know," Saunders pointed out. "I know, but this was different. He was avoiding me, as I said, like he was disgusted by me. Then he hit me in the face and everything turned black." "Did you faint?" "No, but I sort of blacked out, blinded by all these confusing emotions, by rage. You've probably experienced that too, right? You get so mad it's like everything just turns dark and you act slowly on your emotions." "Can't say I have, no," Saunders said apologetically. Sam sighed. "Anyway, I broke his jaw somehow," he said depressed, "and we took the bus to the hospital where he had the surgery. That's what happened, briefly." Sam didn't want to mention anything about Marco's death, mostly because he didn't want to think about it, but more importantly because this was something serious that had to be kept a secret to keep Spike away from Juvenile Hall. "And now he doesn't want you to visit him anymore?" Saunders asked. "Like I said," Sam said and looked around on the room. He slowly stood up from the couch and told his father he wanted to go to his room. "I need some rest," he explained. "I understand," Saunders smiled warm. "We've been through quite a bit today." "Yeah," Sam said. He glanced down at the plate on the table and picked it up. "I'll bring this to my room if it's okay." "By all means," Saunders said. Then he stood up from the couch as well, wanting to follow his son to his room to make sure he didn't faint or anything on the way. Sam walked with heavy steps, too tired to lift his feet as he walked. His father took the plate gently from Sam and carried it for him. When Sam entered his room, he walked over to his bed and dropped down on it. Saunders placed the food plate on the bedside table. "I'll be in the basement if you need me," he said, gently ruffled his son's hair again and walked out of the room, closing the door behind him. Sam was so tired he could barely keep his eyes open. Still, he couldn't fall asleep. All he could think of was Spike, that he'd broken his jaw, and that because of him his best friend in the whole world was alone in the hospital right now. Not just that, but Spike had actually killed a person. Strangely, Sam found that he didn't really care much about the death of Marco, maybe because he couldn't just bring himself to believe Spike was a murderer. He'd have to see it with his own eyes to believe it, though. He wasn't sure he really wanted that. Sam thought back to things Spike had said, that he didn't want Sam as a friend anymore just because of Sam's feelings towards him. It was so unfair. He grabbed his pillow and pressed it against his face, wanting to suffocate himself. He needed to distract himself, try to focus on something other than how he was feeling. He started feeling dizzy from the lack of air and gasped as he threw away the pillow from his face. Then the shock of what he had done came over him and he started crying silently. Sam had never been suicidal, but right now part of him wished he could just die and not have to cope with any of this.